I played through Dark Souls 2 recently.
I've never played Dark Souls 2. It's the only one I haven't played. How was it?
It was a game.
You can't just give me that. Everyone's got a hot take. They're either like, I hate it, it's the worst one, or actually, I'm a bit of a contrarian and I quite enjoyed it.
So, I can believe if I played it first, it probably would be my favorite. I think whichever of the Souls-like games, if I'd have played first, I think would have been my favorite one.
That makes sense.
I think I have like a real soft spot for original Dark Souls, just because it was the first one I played.
Yeah, the first one, you never forget your first time getting annihilated.
The first time when it finally clicks and you get good.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
And there's a lot of mechanics that I genuinely really, really like in the game, but I would say it is worse in almost every possible way than the other games.
Well, I mean, I think it goes to show that they did Dark Souls 3 and then they did Elden Ring, and both of those games don't use many of the elements from 2. It's mainly...
Well, almost none of the mechanics. Like, the way I describe it is it feels like you're playing like an Uncanny Valley version of Dark Souls.
Like an off-brand one.
Yeah, like everything is just a little bit off.
Yeah.
Just a little bit weird.
I've heard that, like, if you grind one area too much, the enemies just stop respawning.
Yeah, which I don't hate as a mechanic. At no point in that game did I ever feel the need to grind. But there were some parts, for better or worse, if there was a couple of awful boss runs in that game. And,
okay. That is annoying.
One or two areas where I was like, fuck it. I'm going to walk and kill every single enemy. And after you do that sort of 10, 15 times, they no longer spawn.
Oh, okay. And then it makes that death run like piece of piss.
Because...
That's I've never heard that point of view on it. That makes sense.
But it's the only reason that you have to do that...
It's because of the terrible...
because of bad other mechanics where you have to... if you're trying to go through a fog gate, enemies can just still attack you, and that stops you going through the fog gate. So if you don't clear out the enemies in the immediate area...
Oh, shit.
Well, you can't go through that fog gate.
I hate that.
And so I like it because it helps to deal with just a problem that they put in.
I've heard like weapons break as well. Is that a thing?
Yeah, like, God, I think just they've never got weapon degradation good in those games.
I don't think they need it at all. I think you could just remove it. It adds nothing but tedium, repair powder, and fuck it. Like, it's just an extra bit of busy work that I actually don't mind it in Breath of the Wild because it's integrated into the game. It's part of the reward and exploration mechanics where, okay, yeah, your weapons are breaking quite quickly, but it means there's always a reward of a new exciting weapon and you're cycling through them.
Given, yeah, like, I think there's pros and cons with the Zelda ones as well. I'm not in love with how quick they break.
It works better than in Dark Souls, where you spend all this time upgrading a weapon and you can repair them. So making me damage and repair my weapon is just this extra unnecessary...
It's just busy work.
Yeah, it's just, adds nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a pain in the ass.
Which, not super good. But I played through it, I played all the DLCs, and finished the game. Although, like, God, really suffered from the problem of fighting... Like, playing the DLCs, and, like, some of those DLC bosses, the fucking difficulty curve just... really, really ramps up. And
did you finish it?
Yeah. And then like came back. I was like, okay, right, I'm gonna do the final boss. And you go in and before the final boss, so I'm not sure if you have to fight them every time or just beat them once, but you have to fight like an off-brand Ornstein and Smaug.
Okay.
I just went in there and just killed them. And then there's a boss who was like, oh shit, why am I fighting this? I don't know who I'm fighting right now. And then just killed them. Was like, oh. I did not have to do anything at all because I just feel like I just got too leveled from the DLCs.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. You kind of have to plan out in the Souls games, like at what point you're going to handle them, because if you get to them too early, you get wrecked. You get to them too late, you stomp through them.
And
the game obviously won't tell you.
yeah, you just have to make that like as a gut call. Yeah. Also, they do far too many like, oh, you're gonna fight a boss. Here, we'll just put a load of random enemies in the arena as well. Do you like that? And it takes just what is like a trivial boss into being a fucking ball ache.
Shit.
Which becomes way less fun.
Oh, fair enough. I'll have to try it at some point.
The rat boss. Yeah. I actually really liked the skeleton army boss. I thought they were jokes.
I love skeletons.
Did I enjoy the boss summoning other bosses? That thing was super dumb because there's a boss that it just summons other bosses in the game.
Oh, wow. That sounds like right up your alley.
But, like, went in and, like, it summoned, like, one of the other bosses and was like, fuck, this is hard, trying to, like, fight both of them. Because I think they're casting spells and the other boss was melee and was like, oh, God, like, managing this is a bit tough. But, like, gone in again, they did something similar. Then gone in a third time, and they summoned a skeleton that died in one hit. And so I was like, okay, I'll stop there. Okay. And then they're like, I'm going to summon again. And they just summoned another skeleton that died in one hit.
What?
I was like, when you summoned a boss, that took like 10 hits, maybe. And I've got to manage fighting you and all of this other stuff, but sometimes... But I just had summoned in that fight 3 skeletons in a row.
Okay, so you
I think I just
super RNG'd it.
RNG'd that fight and was like...
Well, that's weird.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I hate the range on that. Like
how the scaling
the
difficult.
swing on the difference there is insane.
Super goofy.
What kind of game design is that?
Also, the whole thing, there's like, you get these magic stones. Imagine a bit like I feel like they're a bit like the stone sword keys in Elden Ring.
Okay, yeah.
And you go to an area, and you just see like this thing on the wall. It's like, do you want to use one of your magic stones? And you're like, okay, let's see what this does. And like, you use it, and it turns off all the poison gas in the area.
Oh.
And you're like, oh shit, that's fucking great. One time you might do it, and like, it opens a room, and inside is a chest. And you're like,
okay, cool.
Okay, cool. Another time you do it, and then it fills the entire area with poison gas, and you can never turn that off. And you're like, how the fuck was I supposed to know that? So this is a really limited resource.
Oh my god.
Like, this mechanic is fucking bullshit. And so just ended up not using them. So I was like, well...
No, because it's not worth the risk, because the bad ones
scammed.
are so much worse than the good ones. And I guess if you do it in an area you're never coming back to, then it might be worth it.
But like, because they're really limited, it just ends up with me after a little while just looking it up. Like, if there was like an item that I wanted, like, oh, okay, I need one for this. Great, I'll use it here.
So, yeah, I mean, that happens a lot in Souls-like, so doesn't it? That you end up having to just look shit up because the game does zero explaining.
Also, fuck me. There was like a few times that I had to look up where I was supposed to go because, like literally, it was one of the item descriptions.
Yeah.
Which you go through the game, like five areas after you've gone through like one place. You pick up a key, and it's called like the mysterious key, and the item description is who knows what it could open, and you have to use that to open a door that's like a complete different area of the map. And so unless you'd gone back and replayed every area...
Yeah, and just stick it in everything you
How would you have found that? How would you have worked that out?
No. But it's like, I remember in Dark Souls 1, I had to look up a guide on how to access the DLC content. I've paid money for more game.
Jesus, yeah.
And I had to look up a guide on how to get there. Because the game, it gave zero indication.
does not explain.
It's not like, oh, you want to play the new level? Well, go, doesn't even give you a clue. I mean, there probably is a clue somewhere, but you have to read every fucking thing you find. And maybe one of them says, have you tried this?
Insane.
Oh.